Come check out the brand new Wave 11 ships for X-Wing miniatures.
Spiky bits.
What's up, hobby maniacs? Rob Baer with you again today, taking a closer look at 3 new ships for X-Wing miniatures. Of course, this is Wave 11. We've got 3 new ships, like I said. You got the Wookiee Gunship, the new TIE Aggressor with its sweet little turret action on the back right there, and the H-6 bomber, which we saw first in Star Wars Armada. Now this bad boy right here is $19.99, and the other 2 are the pretty much standard price of $14.95 there. So these will all be out here in the near future from FFG. Of course, you know, it is a holiday weekend, there's all sorts of stuff going on, but these are slated to come out very soon. Of course, Armada has some ships coming out right around the same time as well, so lots and lots of exciting things going on for Star Wars fans out there from FFG. Now the TIE Aggressor right here, we're going to take a look at first. This bad boy, I guess, you know, they've had a full preview up on FFG site for, I don't know, a couple of months now, I suppose, and this is, you know, one of the rare times you're actually able to see all the cards and everything on there. And this one's been one of my personal favorites that I've been looking forward to, because I'm a fan of the Y-Wing, and I've always had fun flying around Y-Wings and stuff. And this is one of those unique ships, whereas it just looks cool, you know, right off the bat. And here's a closer look at it, so you can kind of see. Of course, it's got that tapered back solar panels right there, of course, so the turret can shoot around. But then you know, it's got some missile racks as well that you can equip to it. Some unguided missiles as far as the game itself goes. But this is one of the those interesting ships that you can kind of set a role for. Like, you want it to be an ace, you can kind of make it an ace. You want it to be kind of a lancer, you know. Well, you can do that too. Or if you want it to be like a gunboat, a purpose ship, kind of a control ship, something like that, you can equip it out, you know, with a lot of ion weapons and things like that too. So it's kind of like one of those interesting ships that you can kind of make it whatever way you want. Now it comes with 4 pilot cards, and of course this is a brand new ship, so we haven't seen, well, any of these, at least in releases in the past here, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ships here. Let's do it in pilot skill order right there. Booyah. So we've got the TIE Aggressor at pilot skill 2, pilot skill 4, named unique, pilot skill 5, the Onyx Squadron Escort, and pilot skill 7, Lieutenant Kessel. And all of these are really good. Of course, my 2 favorites are Double Edged and Lieutenant Kessel. Now, points wise, obviously clocking in really well here. You're going to have a flip-flop on your points for your pilot skills right here, 19 and 19, to the generic one versus the named one here. Of course, most of these, as you already probably have noticed, have the turret upgrade slot as well as double missile slots, of course, that can be 2 separate missile systems, or of course taken up by the new unguided rockets themselves that seem to be poised to make a little bit of a splash, a kind of like a non-comboable splash, I suppose, when it comes to that, as far as their dice themselves. Now, there will be some other combos out there, which we're going to talk about here shortly, of course. So, overall, you've got technically 5 hit points here, 1 shield, and 4 hull points. 2 agility, which, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad, and 2 attacks. So, if you're at that tight range 1, you're going to get your 3 attacks, and of course, range 3, you're going to get your 3 agility right there. But let's talk about these bad boys here that I think a lot of people are excited about. Of course, the double-edged, once per round after you perform a secondary weapon attack that does not hit, you may perform an attack with a different weapon. And for 19 points, that's basically a built-in gunner ability, which I think is pretty neat, because we all know gunner ability is rather expensive. If you take that upgrade card, that elite pilot talent, which, hey, guess what? You don't have to take it now. You can take some other elite pilot talent, which is really, really cool to see here. And of course, you put a twin laser turret on this bad boy. Easy game, easy life. This is going to be a very fun ship. However, you can only field 1 because it is unique. But there is that. But this could be, you know, kind of your, I don't know, your tip of the spear, so to speak, in your TLT attack if you decide to take multiples of these, which you obviously can. One of the favorite tactics of mine is to actually move first and get into position and mess up the enemy's maneuvers, and then TLT, you know, something else out, because you have that 360 degree arc with it, which isn't quite, isn't quite the same in this. But that's besides the point. Okay, so Lieutenant Kestel here, when attacking, you may spend 1 focus token to cancel all of the defender's blank and focus results. So that's pretty neat too, because obviously we know there is unguided rockets in here, which was in the preview, which you're about to see right here. So here's your... Here, let's do it this way so we can zoom in a little bit more. Make the reading easier on those with the old people eyes, because I tell you what, I'm getting to the point where I have a case of the old people eyes myself. Alright, so there it is. Now, we all know what TLT does. That thing has been around since the K-Wing. Introduced it. It has been a boon or a bane, depending on what you fly out there, for a number of years here. So we've got lightweight frame. Obviously, we've seen that one too, but here it is. You get an extra one. When defending, after rolling a defense dice, if there are more attack dice than defense dice, roll 1 additional defense dice. You can't equip it if you have agility higher than 3, which isn't going to be the case with this bad boy right here. So obviously, that one's pretty good. I think that's kind of a no-brainer, and modifications don't take up a slot. So think about that. Consider that. That seems to be very good synergy with this unguided rockets. At range, or excuse me, 3 damage, or 3 red dice at range 1 to 3. So very, very tactically flexible. The bad part. So this is a positive, negative, positive sandwich. Costs 2 slots to equip. However, your attack, your dice can be modified only by spending a focus token for its standard effects. So you can't chip it. I don't think you could Howl Runner it. I'm trying to think how else you could modify this thing. Obviously, you couldn't chip it either if you're taking the modification slot here. I'm sure it'll come to me, but I'm drawing a blank there. However, 2 slots, which isn't a big deal. You don't have to discard it. It just requires a focus to attack. Now, that plays off really, really good, obviously, with Kestel, which we talked about here. Because you know you're going to focus. You know what your action is going to be when you perform it. You're definitely going to focus here. So you're going to have a focus available for a lot of different things. One of those could be Intensity, which is this new 2-sided card, which is just, when you do something, it tells you when to flip it. To reflip it, you need, again, a focus token. So focus is big here in this ship's synergy. After you perform a boost or barrel roll action, you may assign 1 focus or evade token to your ship. If you do so, flip this card. So unfortunately, it is, or fortunately, it is an elite pilot talent. So you're not going to be able to, push the limit or anything like that. But you take this, so you can double up your focus. So you're going to have to gain focus the old natural way. However, this gives you a lot of tactical flexibility because it lets you bounce around, lets you do some flips, some barrel rolls and things to get around, set up those awesome fire arcs and things. And even if you get out of their fire arc, it doesn't matter because you got twin laser turret. So who cares? I feel like that's pretty good. So these can work together. Maybe obviously not at the same time. Well, I guess you could at the same time. Wasn't there one of these that lets you... Oh yeah, your gunner. So your built-in gunner ability is also going to be great because if either of these attacks fail, well then hey, don't sweat it. You get your normal attacks, and if you're positioned pretty well, you're either going to get 2 or 3 attacks back on them right there. So I feel like this is pretty cool. Now throw into the mix the synced turret, which does require a target lock to attack. Attack 1 ship, even a ship outside your firing arc. So again, you got that 360 sweetness. If the defender is inside your primary firing arc, you may reroll a number of dice up to your primary weapon value. Okay, that seems pretty good. Now, it isn't as flexible as these, up to 3. Remember, TLT's got that donut in the middle. This one has the donut on the outside, but it is 3 dice. It is considerably less than TLT, so it might be a new favorite amongst pilots out there trying to perform the Death Blossom. Alright, next up, let's check out the H6 bomber. Just kidding, I forgot to talk about the dial for this bad boy here. So checking it out, it does have a robust dial, but you will notice that it's really only able to skirt around at 2 and 3 as to be expected with the tie. With the loop at 4 and its top speed of 4, which isn't red. So there you go. Alright, next up, like I promised, was the H6 bomber. Now this contains both a scum and a rebel version of Captain Nim, which is kind of cool. So you get more for your buck. I guess maybe that's I don't know. I guess kind of drawn from the whole Rebels, and also a little bit the Rebels TV show and all that stuff. So it's kind of cool to see. As far as the ship itself goes, well, it's one of the biggest small ships out there for sure. I like it. It's pretty neat. Very well detailed, like we've seen in the past. With other stuff, of course, definitely holds true to the styling and the color scheme of the fabled ship of Captain Nim. So there we go. Now, upgrade-wise, I don't know. Like I forgot to say it in the intro, but you know, FFG definitely seems to be trying to bring Ordnance back after the whole, hey, we should make Ordnance great again, and then they did with the, and then they banned it, and then they kept FAQing it, and then, well, we all kind of know how that went. But I'm just saying, I got some Dengars for trade. But that being said, now we have the second ship that's definitely making Ordnance really interesting. Of course, the unguided rockets or missiles in the first one. Now we've got Captain Nim and all his shenanigans, all sorts of bomb and Ordnance shenanigans here. So here you can see the two different dials. Of course, here's your droplet, which we're going to talk about here in a second. The dial itself, really interesting. You are going to have quite a full dial here with a Talon roll at 3. So it doesn't have a loop, but it does have a Talon roll, and it does have a top speed of 5, stressing the ship. So that's really interesting. There's a lot of maneuverability here, but not quite at 1. Definitely not as much at 2. Well, I guess it's pretty good at 2. Full suite at 3, 4, and 5. Always looking fresh right there. And then, of course, you've got the Rebel Captain Nim right there at his pilot skill 8. And that's the only Rebel card on here. And then you've got the extra pilots, which we're going to talk about here in a second, for the Scum faction of this one. Now, let's lay those out real quick. It's got some really interesting upgrades, and I feel like we're going to spend some time on that. So we got Captain Nim. We've got Captain Nim, Soul Sixa, Lock Revenant, and a Catholic Pirate right there. So these we'll just cover real quick. So you got your Pirate. These are just, you know, your generic stuff here. But look at that full complement of upgrade slots right here, going from no EPT to an EPT. You've got turret, you've got ordnance, or, you know, missiles, torpedoes, missiles, crew, double bombs, and there's a reason this is important, we're about to see here. For a Jouster or Lancer type price, starting out, you're going to get 10 health, that's 5 hull points and 5 shields, with 3 offensive output at 1 agility. Which, you know, 1 agility, that's rough, that's a tough pill to swallow. But it is a robust ship, and you are going to be able to do some shenanigans with this right off the bat. You can see it has barrel roll, but of course, the normal focus, and of course, target lock right there. Now let's talk about the named pilots-ish. So you've got the 2 versions of Captain Nim, both checking in at pilot skill 8. And all the normal stats we just talked about. And Soul Sixa, when dropping a bomb, you may use the hard 1 port to starboard, and of course the normal forward template there. Nothing that you wouldn't expect. Full bar filled here. We've already covered it. It's the same for all of these. Notice the double bomb slot. Very important distinction there, and you're about to see why if you haven't already figured it out. Of course, another thing we need to talk about is Captain Nim's innate abilities. If you're running for Rebels, once per round you may prevent a friendly bomb from detonating, which is huge because you can basically, as long as you keep saying that it's, hey, it's this bomb, you can hold it in stasis from detonating, setting up some traps, setting up some maneuvers, some firing lanes, directing traffic, whatever you want to do, keeping your friendlies from getting hit, keeping yourself from getting hit, whatever you want to do. Then the Scum version, you may ignore friendly bombs when a friendly ship is defending. If that attacker measures range through a friendly bomb token, the defender may add 1 evade result, just 1 evade result. So you're going to roll your 1 dice and you're automatically going to get 1 evade result. And that's for any friendly ship, that's for your whole fleet. Like, it doesn't get better than that. I feel like this is a huge card for 30 points. I think you're going to see a lot of builds with it, possibly not to the level where, you know, every ship was, you know, running a U-boat or anything like the years past, but I feel like this is a very strong ship here, and you're definitely going to want to watch out for this one. And another reason why that synergizes so well is obviously some of these cards here, which we're about to see. Of course, he does have the Talon roll. We know how that works, but there it is, just in case. How to use bombs. They drop off the back. The bomblet token. Now, this has a specific attack, and you're about to see how good this really is. When this token detonates, each ship at range 1 of the token, so this is your normal range 1, rolls 2 attack dice and suffers all damage, regular hits, or crits, then you discard this token. Booyah. It's out of there. But don't worry, it'll be back again. Because here's what Bomblet Generator does. Let's throw down some. Hold on. Let's throw down some cards that you haven't seen yet. There we go. There's some cards you haven't seen yet. All right, let's talk about these bad boys right here. So first up, Bomblet Generator. This is the one I'm most excited about. Again, yes, I did run the U-boats when they first came out. Had a lot of fun with them, but I like to run weird stuff. And let's just face it, I was an unconventional U-boat driver, and I feel like a lot of folks out there, well, kind of got a little blatant with this, and they got nerfed, and I'm stuck with 3 of them, and I'm a little sad. But now I might have something to do here. So you got the Bomblet Generator, and actually I had a list. Dang it. I had a list. FFG put up a nice little list for us, which was nice of them, on their site about what ships could actually field that. And now I have lost it. I know you gotta take, you can get it on the fire spray, but you're gonna need the upgrade title, the Andraz stuff. So you can have it on your K-Wing, your Top Punisher, your fire spray, of course, with the title, or you can get it on a quad jumper if you've got Cad Bane on it right there. You probably notice that artwork's a little familiar. Of course, it's from the Destiny dice game. Alright, so first off, when you reveal a maneuver, you may drop 1 Bomblet token. This token detonates at the end of the activation phase. And there it is. It's a normal size. It's a normal size bomb with a normal size track right there. So it is rather lengthy. You definitely know your threat range. It's roughly about that big. So it's gonna make a little maneuvering nightmares for a lot of things. Now, why this is good? Well, hey, it's not an auto include. It is limited to certain ships. It is 3. I feel like now you have basically a free secondary attack because you're allowed to drop this out when you reveal your maneuver dial. You're also allowed to shoot. Now, granted, you might not have the best shots because you might want to set up this Bomblet Generator, but check this out. You got turrets on these. You can put in the new sync turret. You can put in a TLT. You know, this is a gunship. It's a platform. It's a small ship gunship that seems to be really fresh. Now, check out this robot, or this droid. So this is scum only, because I don't think you can take this on any other faction yet. When you perform actions on your torpedo or bomb upgrade cards, even if you are stressed, so you can drop them out. Even if you're stressed, if you perform an action in this way, you may discard this card to remove 1 stress token from your ship. So if you absolutely positively got to do it, you can. For 1 point, it might be an auto include for you. It's kind of 50-50 there, but I feel like this card is very strong, and we need to keep an eye on this one for sure. Just like Captain Nim for the Scum. And then, of course, his personal ship, the Havoc, its title, and your upgrade bar gains the sensor and droid upgrade icons and loses the crew upgrade. You cannot equip non-unique droid upgrade cards, so there isn't that many out there, but definitely check your upgrade card stack to see which ones that'll pertain to. Now, cruise missiles, I believe this is a new one. I hadn't seen this one before. It's 1 dice at range 2 to 3, but hey, for your target lock attack, you do need to discard this card. However, you may roll additional attack dice equal to the speed of maneuver you just executed this round to a maximum of 4 additional dice, which could theoretically be easy to do. We know this has a speed 5, we knew this has a speed 4, it has a speed 3 Talon to turn the tides, flip around. You could launch up to 4 dice at that point with the cruise missile, so it gives you even more things to make your opponent look out for. Cad Bane, really interesting scum pilots. Upgrade bar gains the bomb icon, so that's how you get in on the fire spray. Once per round, when an enemy ship the quad jumper, when an enemy ship rolls an additional attack dice due to a friendly bomb detonating, you may choose any number of these blank results, and they must re-roll that result. And then there's Minefield Mapper, and ooh doggy, that is a spicy meatball. Wow, where to begin with this one? Holy cow. Okay, so first off, it is a sensor, or system upgrade, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure, you know, it has an actual name. We all know this. During setup, after the place forces step, you may discard any number of your equipped bomb upgrade cards. Place all corresponding bomb tokens into play area beyond range 3 of enemy ships. It's a 0 cost upgrade. So, of course, you don't normally have that slot, but on your ship, but you can have that slot if you take the Havoc. So this kind of ropes you into one specific way to play it. Of course, you know, learning from the trouble with the U-boats, I'm sure they've come out and they've been like, okay, we got this cool thing, but let's kind of rope it in and see how it does. We don't want to get too crazy with it, but it still has the potential to be a little bit crazy because I may not be a smart man, but I know what ordnance is. And I can tell you right now, anytime you discard a bomb or an ordnance card or a missile card, if you have extra munitions, you can discard the tokens instead. So now you're going to be able to place quite a bit of stuff out there, because most of these, well, I guess Captain Rex or Captain Nim is the only one that matters, does have the ordnance slot right here. So you can take extra munitions, you can get double bombs, and then of course you can start placing, you know, your Connor nets, your plasma torpedoes, your cluster bombs, whatever you want, all that crazy stuff in front of your enemy's lines, and you can start lining up, directing traffic, or just making it so they got to run through the gauntlet before they even get to you, running up your fleet, you know, doing flybys, whatever, engaging at range 1, using your cruise missiles even. I don't even know, I haven't even thought about it that far until I saw this card and I was like, wait, oh my gosh, I can't believe I overlooked that. That is silly good. Silly good. So lots of cool upgrades here coming our way in the new H3 bomber. Now, of course, it does come with some other stuff to definitely consider. We got the new sync turret, which we saw in the Aggressor, so no need to talk about that. We just talked about it a few minutes ago. Seismic torpedo, lightning reflexes, which we saw that recently on a scum ship. I want to say this is the Karaz, but I may be wrong. Either way, another great way to turn around your ship, because remember, it does not have a loop there. So I think we covered everything that time on that ship. So last up is the Wookiee Gunship. So again, FFG is really mixing things up this release, which could be one of the most exciting releases in a while now. We know there was a lot of shenanigans out there recently with some of the releases. We kind of had a lackluster release, you know, as far as excitement level with the last Wave 10, and now we've got this bad boy right here, this Wookiee Gunship. Now, I like it. I mean, this is going to be one of those ships you either love or hate, I feel like, because it's going to be very forgiving, or very unforgiving to play, rather. I don't know why I said forgiving. This is going to be a very unforgiving ship to play. So here's the close-up of the detail on it. Again, fantastically detailed out with all the, we'll call it ship tattoos. It was looking pretty fresh. Of course, we've seen some digital versions of this ship already on the TV there, and you can see all of its guns and stuff. Now, as far as upgrade cards go, well, we got a lot of them. However, what we don't have is some maneuverability, and that's one of those things. Like I said, you're gonna have to plan your maneuvers out. This is not a newbie type ship, so to speak. It's gonna be kind of one of those things where you do have to kind of plan things out. So looking at the dial here, you can see, well, there's a couple of things missing. We got no K-turn, no S-loop, and no Talon roll up in this piece right here. But we do got a 4 forward and a 5 for a stress. So, that being said, we got some things. We got some options. Speed is definitely really cool. But what are these? That looks very familiar. I almost feel like I've seen that in an Epic play before. Well, it turns out that the gunship has the, I guess, small ship port over from Epic, with the reinforced coming over to the small ship world here. And we'll explain how that kind of works, because we don't have hull, you know, I guess, blue lines and things dividing our ships up, but we do have a couple of other things. So there it is right there. You can pause it, check it out if you want in the future. But there they are right there. So there's two different modes of reinforce. You can say, I'm going to reinforce to 4, and that's everything in your firing arc, which is going to be 180, as you'll see over here. Or you can reinforce everything into aft, which is everything outside of your firing arc, which is easily delineated right here. 180 degrees, pretty easy to figure out. It also has the auxiliary firing arc, identified by the dotted line. Like I said, it doesn't have the blue lines. It's a little bit different. Like, it is a small ship port over from Epic. So a ship that with this icon may attack enemy ship that is in range 1 to 3 and inside its standard or auxiliary. So there you go, boom, boom, boom. So you can. It's a little bit harder to flank this ship right here because it's got that bigger gotcha. But again, the drawback is, of course, it's hard to turn that ass around. So that's going to be an issue for a lot of pilots out there. That's why I said it's a little bit unforgiving of a ship. This is something that you're going to want to come into games from an asymmetrical attack vector. Basically, all that means is you're going to want to flank the ship. You're going to want to set it up on the side and come in. You're going to set it up on the side, come in, weave with it, and use it in a little bit of a synergy bubble with some of your other ships out there and some of your other squadrons. Or you can go the lone wolf or predator kind of role if you want, because you're going to be on the flank, you're going to be coming in, so they're going to have to worry about it or go after it, focus their whole fleet on this bad boy right here. But again, it would be easier to do if you got the lower pilot skill versions. It'd be harder to do if you had the higher pilot skill versions. So keep that in mind as you're setting up and where your things are. And, you know, obviously don't run this into the jaws of a bunch of fire of your opponent's fleet or your opponent's squad. So breaking it down, we've got Lancer or Jouster type points right here as far as squadron goes. All of them have multiple crews. Only the latter right here have your EPTs. Pilot skill 1, pilot skill 3. Now, it is a little bit of a tanky beast with 9 overall health, 3 shields, 6 hull, so not too bad right there. And that's where these can go to the wayside, so we can talk more about the big boys right here, which are very interesting. So first off, we got Lorik, I guess. When another friendly ship at range 1 is defending, you may spend 1 reinforced token. If you do, the defender adds 1 evade result. So that's kind of a bonus. Remember, evades don't really get in Epic unless you have another ability that kind of grants them. It's not just something you can just get. Also, something I forgot to point out, but you probably already noticed by now, look at the command bar right here. You only have focus in this reinforce, this new reinforce, this mini ship reinforce. You don't have barrel roll, you don't have target lock, you don't have evade, you don't have anything cool. Well, you do have things that are cool, but you're going to have to work for it. These ships, it's all about working for it, but the risk could most definitely be worth the reward. Wolfraro, whatever you want to call them. The Wookiee in this ship, when attacking, if you have no shields and at least 1 damage card assigned to you, roll 1 additional attack dice, so that kind of helps. Now, these do only have 1 agility, but they have 3 offensive output with the auxiliary arc, so 180 of course. But you're going to need something to kind of keep them, you know, in the game. Again, they're going to fly different than B-Wing. They're going to fly different than, you know, like an X-Wing, right? So you've got a couple of different cards to do that. Let's see, what do we got here? You got hull upgrade, of course, if you really need it. 50-50 right there. It's a modification, so it's a free slot. Now, Wookiee Commandos is an interesting card. When attacking, you may re-roll your focus results, but does take up 2 slots right there. You know, alternatively, you could use those 2 slots to take Jan or gosh, the name eludes me. Who's the Jan or Jen? I always get those 2 confused when I'm trying to talk to them. So you could take Jan or Jen in your Wookiee gunship and give out that sweet synergy to the rest of your squad as well. You got selflessness. It is a unique, so you can't run, you know, multiples of them, etc. When a friendly ship at range 1 is hit by an attack, you may discard this card to suffer all uncancelled hit results instead of the target ship. So this is kind of your Biggs Darklighter of Wookiee World, kind of meets Wave 11. So there's some play here. Obviously, this with something I was talking about like Jan and Jen, or whatever you want. You could do one or the other. You could even do Tactician and Breach Specialist here. That seems like a pretty solid combo in and of itself. It's almost like they're trying to tell us something here. Tactician's been around forever. That is limited, so only one per your fleet. After you perform an attack against a ship inside your firing arc of range 2, that ship receives 1 stress token, but when you're dealt a face-up damage card, you may spend 1 reinforced token to flip it face down without resolving that effect. If you do, until the end of the round, when you are dealt a face-up damage card, flip it face down without resolving its effect. So it's kind of multi-layered there. It's like a layered kind of effect type deal. I feel like a lot of times your only action is going to be to reinforce, especially if you have the Wookiee Commandos. That seems like a pretty solid play right there. And then of course they do include Intimidation in the set, where you're touching an enemy ship, reduce that ship's agility value by 1. I feel like it might be a fair assumption to make that you are going to collide into some ships with the ability, with a reduced ability to turn around. So again, you're going to have to plan out your maneuvers well in advance, and hopefully be daft enough that your opponent doesn't figure out what those maneuvers will be, because like we saw on the card, you don't have a whole lot of range. So once you get by somebody or they get by you, your maneuvers are going to become a little bit more predictable than when you're staring them off in the space curve. So that, I mean, there's a lot more to be said about this. This is one of those ships, I feel like, that will be one of the either the make it or break it type ships. This thing's either going to break the meta wide open or just be, you know, a whimper and we'll never hear about it again. But there they are, all 3 ships. Your new X-Wing lineup of summer 2017, of course, Wave 11 coming at you hot. Now, if you like our features here on this channel, make sure you subscribe to us and turn on notifications to be the very first to thumbs up and like our videos. And head on over to longwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.